YouTube, Dawson Rider here with a little bit of Power Rangers news, a bit of odd Power Rangers news that normally I wouldn't report on, but I sound like I'm an actual reporter, like, this just in, now back to Carl with sports, that normally I wouldn't make a video about, but the reason I am is because it could pertain to some signs about the future of PR, at least right now, or at least something to speculate on with that. You know, we're never gonna know for sure, and who knows what the future holds. The news is that Hasbro is going to be auctioning off some of their Power Rangers props and suits with like the Heritage auction or whatever. Mainly the Cosmic Fury suits and the Once and Always suits. Now the reason this is interesting is simply because of the rumored plans and of course the uncertain place Power Rangers is in as a franchise. Like them selling the Cosmic Fury suits wouldn't seem that weird, you know, because I doubt they're going to do anything with them in the nearest future. But the thing that made me surprised was the Once and Always suits, mainly because the rumor was that the new show that they pitched to Netflix was an mmpr reboot, seemingly like a live-action reboot that would reimagine some of the most popular episodes from the original series with like a new cast and live action and all that stuff. So that did surprise me because, like, again, the rumor was that they're like, okay, where's the reboot? And they're like, actually, we want to do this MMPR show. And they're like, nah, ixnay, you know? And then they were going to shop around elsewhere. So maybe they tried to and no one else bit, or they decided, you know what, I don't feel like shopping right now. So maybe they decided to give up for now, because you would think that that would save them money, because their whole thing right now is, it seems like their like policy on Power Rangers is just, let's make a little bit of money off of it by outsourcing and just let whatever happen, but we're not interested in making anything big happen right now, because the only things you have going on is the Boom comics are apparently continuing. Like, as of this recording, Comic-Con is going to be starting very soon, and we're going to be getting news on what they're going to be doing with the Boom comics, but they're not losing the license or anything. It seemed like they were going to be done because they announced the main comics were ending, but they also have just announced some new ones and said there's more to hold, so there's going to be some form of PR comics continuing. Obviously, you have stuff like the game, the Legacy Wars or whatever, a little random merchandise that comes up from different companies and stuff like that. And of course, the only other big thing is the upcoming Playmates toy line that's going to be MMPR focused, that'll come out probably next year. But that's all that's going on, and it's very much so like, yeah, we can just keep the Boom deal going, you know, just let that run. You know, a lot of franchises that are dormant in terms of like major stuff like TV shows, movies, will have ongoing comics. You know, TMNT and Transformers both, I believe, would have ongoing comics when they were more quiet before movies or TV shows came out. So they'll just let that run, and then, you know, outsource the toys to Play School and make a little bit of money from that deal. And it seemed like that rumor would feel right about them wanting to do an MMPR TV show, because they would probably want to have something that lines up with the toy line so that that could generate extra revenue. But I don't know what's going on now with this. You know, you'd think they'd want to hold on to that because they're all about trying to make money while spending as little money and effort as possible. And if you already have the props ready, especially new ones, like these aren't the old ones that are like falling apart or ones from the Disney era, Once a Ranger special or anything like that. These were made within the last few years, so presumably they held up pretty well, and you'd think that they would want to keep those around to use for this supposed reboot, because it would seemingly be Once and Always style. So it could be a sign that if that was the case, that they've decided to abandon it for now. Or, you know, they could decide, if like they outsource it to whoever, or they sell the show to somebody to make, that they can just make their own props. That's not impossible. That's the tricky thing with Power Rangers. Like, obviously when you talk about any kind of production, a TV show or movie, any production's gonna want to save money, I'm sure. You know, very few productions, I'm sure, are like, let's burn money. But most productions are going to want to save money, unless it's like the reshoots of the reshoots of the reshoots, like they didn't talk about in The Boys. Every time I think about Captain America Brave New World, I just think about that skit from The Boys now. But anyway, you know what I mean. But with Power Rangers, it's an especially weird conversation because it was founded on, you know, using Sentai footage to cut corners and to save money, and it undoubtedly saves money to use the Sentai footage. That's without a doubt, and especially early on, that was kind of crucial to them being able to produce the show. But, you know, as you went on, you didn't necessarily need it, because I'm sure they could have generated enough revenue to make their own show. But again, without question, it saves money to use someone else's footage for like half your show or almost half your show. However, I've always found it funny that when the conversation comes up about Power Rangers shooting its own show, it's like that's a ridiculous idea. Like, again, I know that it was founded on that idea, and I'm not denying that it saves money, but literally every show on TV shoots their own show, makes their own props. It's not a ridiculous ask. Power Rangers is the exception, not the rule. So the point is with that it's just me bringing up the idea that if they have to make an MMPR show after this, they're gonna have to make new props, which would cost money. But that's not like a ridiculous ask. Again, for Hasbro right now, I can't imagine, just with the way they're behaving, that they would want to pour the money into making new props on their own if they're making the show. But it's not like it's a ridiculous notion. When you make a TV show, you gotta film your own footage, you gotta make your own props if you need them. Obviously, again, I'm not denying it saves money, but it's not a ridiculous ask. It's just so weird. It's like, it's presented like it's this, I can't believe you even asked that. It's like going to a restaurant and them being offended that you asked them to cook the food for you. Like, it's just not a ridiculous ask. Sorry, that just always bugs me. Like, seriously, Power Rangers is not the exception. They're the odd man out. They should be doing their own stuff. But anyway, it's weird. It's weird. I'm so curious where the future holds. Honestly, again, for me, I would be 100% on board with us going fully animated. I'm still down for an eventual possible reboot. The thing is I think Power Rangers is big enough of a recognizable enough of a brand that I don't see this as the end forever. You know, I think right now we're in kind of the dark times, for sure. But it's not like it's a weird one-off show that ran for 1 or 2 seasons and then odds of it coming back are slim. It's definitely a recognizable brand that at some point somebody will show interest in it, I think. You know, I don't know whether that means Hasbro will eventually sell it, or maybe they will get leadership eventually because there's constantly changing leadership that sees potential to do something else. So I'm optimistic about that, not like in an overly optimistic way, if that makes any sense, but it just feels like, yeah, it'll probably come back eventually in some form. Like, I'm sure somewhere down the road, somebody will either buy it or somebody at Hasbro will be like, hey, we're not doing anything with this. It's just a matter of time. I feel like kind of indifferent at this point in terms of, like, obviously for the channel, I like to have stuff to talk about, and I definitely enjoy talking about Power Rangers more than I enjoy talking about Sentai and Rider. But in terms of just, like, personal enjoyment, there's, like, so many more other, like, better shows and franchises that I enjoy watching and researching and watching videos about. So it's like, if Power Rangers just disappears, it's like, okay, you know? Again, I'd love to be able to talk about it for the channel because I enjoy talking about it more than the other things. I enjoy the world more. But at this point, it's like not like crushing to me or anything like that. It's just kind of like, it is what it is. It is definitely kind of sad that they kind of petered out and didn't see the potential. I definitely thought about that a little bit too the last couple days because we were seeing some announcements for some of the con exclusive like Hasbro figures, like a speeder droid and Darth Maul thingy. And I was like, oh man, we're not getting a Power Rangers exclusive this year. I just realized, I know they're doing the weird like Super 7 metallics, but that's not Hasbro. But that's just kind of made me think like, oh yeah, we're definitely not doing a lot right now. But I don't know, we'll see. Maybe this could mean nothing, because again, if they decide to pick up a show and outsource the production or something, so they could just make their own props, you know, usually when you start a new show like that, you gotta make new suits. Maybe they want the suits to look better. Maybe they want them to look worse. I don't know. But it definitely gives you vibes that they're not gonna be doing anything in the immediate future with that. Makes me curious how this upcoming toy line will sell without a show to connect to it. Like, I'm really curious to see what it looks like and how that goes, but I don't know. We'll see. Again, I would just love to go animated. That would be great. I'd be totally fine with that. I'm glad the comics are continuing. If there's an announcement, I mean, I'm sure there is going to be an announcement. When there's an announcement, I'll cover that and let you guys know. But what do you guys think? Do you think this is just nothing to worry about, just a random auction, or do you think it's a sign, a further sign that they're putting it even further back on the shelf, like Wheezy and Toy Story 2? Anyways, guys, until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell to get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.